So back in high school, I 27-year-old female was a pretty well-behaved student and treated my peers well. However, there was one boy in my class I used to pick on and bully regularly. I won't go into details as to why, as that's irrelevant to the overall post, but when we graduated, I never saw him again. Well, last month, I went to a friend's birthday party and was shocked to see him there. Initially, I didn't recognize him, but when someone said his name, I started to put the pieces together. Not only was his entire personality different, but he was also shockingly attractive. I went up to him to chat, and his demeanor changed instantly. He closed off, spoke less, and made little eye contact. I tried to keep the conversation going, but it was like pulling teeth. I did apologize, as I felt he was waiting for that. But he didn't really respond to the apology, at least not in the way I expected. I jokingly said that I won't beg for his forgiveness forever, and that he also couldn't hate me forever. He wasn't paying attention, so I decided to put an end to this drama. I grabbed the karaoke mic and publicly apologized to him at the party. I said I was truly sorry for how I made him feel in high school, and that I was a stupid, mean bully. I also said that I'm totally down to hang out whenever he wants to, so he can move past his hurt. I actually got cheers, so I thought I did a good thing. However, he was angry and asked to speak in private. He basically called me a moron and crazy. We started arguing, and I told him that a public apology was really the only way to get things going. He called me a selfish, attention-seeking idiot who can't take no for an answer. So am I truly the idiot here? I read somewhere that putting things out there is the best way to heal and get over things. You thought you would bully him into accepting your apology using public pressure? It seems like you have a lot of growing up to do. Stop this BS and leave him alone. You bullied this guy, and yes, he can hate you forever for making his life miserable. Get over yourself. You don't understand. He's shockingly attractive. They can hang out anytime now. I almost guarantee you he was fat and isn't anymore. She only apologized to him because he became attractive. At your bases and backed your insincere apology and karaoke rendition cemented how narcissistic you truly are. Pretend Angie clearly learned her lesson, but it's too bad she's so unattractive on the inside. The bully grew up into an adult bully, and we've all known somebody exactly like the person described. The one-on-one apology was extremely inconsiderate and impatient. By the end of the conversation, if she said, "You can't hate me forever, girl," she didn't understand that he isn't even in her life, and he can absolutely hate her forever if he wants. A half-baked apology, forced down his throat, will hardly assure her kindness. Then, she decided to make a public spectacle because he wasn't paying attention to her. Can you imagine how he sees her now? She's unbelievably toxic and crappy. She thinks that because he's become attractive, she can start dating him. She should take her ego down a few pegs. Moreover, she must learn how to respect boundaries, read the room, and take responsibility for past actions without re-victimizing her victim. Exactly, absolutely right. Hence the tipo. I can't believe she's 27 years old. She's more immature than a kindergartner. She apologized for herself, not for him. He was not and never will be obliged to accept her apology or to allow her to redeem herself with a friendship or whatever she was trying for. My girlfriend has this really annoying habit of speaking on my behalf. She assumes how I feel and then says to people that Oak feels a certain way or believes in something. Usually I would confront her in private and tell her that this isn't okay. However, she still keeps doing it, and it's annoying because I get misrepresented. We watched a movie with our friends at a friend's house last weekend. I was really involved with the movie, loved the story and the cinematography. At the same time, I literally saw my girlfriend talking during the movie and even checking her phone. Still, I didn't say anything because it's not my business. Anyway, the ending was really sad, and a couple of people started crying, including my girlfriend. Once the movie ended, everyone talked about how sad the ending was. However, I didn't join in since I was still thinking about the movie because it affected me. Some of my friends were kind of confused why I wasn't saying anything. She said, "Oh, Alpi doesn't really get these kinds of movies. I guess he's not very emotionally sensitive." Normally, this wouldn't bother me so much, but I have this reputation of being unemotional and hard-hearted. That's not really true and that I'm trying to lose. So I got really angry and called my girlfriend a liar. On the ride back, she got really mad at me for making a scene. And then I got mad and said that this wouldn't have happened if you didn't try to speak on my behalf. Now, we're not speaking to one another. I feel like calling her a liar was a little weird in this situation. You could easily have been like, "Well, actually, I like this movie very much. Here's why I enjoyed the conversation." But lashing out and calling her a liar for saying you're emotionally immature makes you look, well, emotionally immature. I think you're the idiot. She's not really a liar. She just didn't know any better. That seems like an inappropriate response to an incorrect statement, which people make all the time in conversations. As on your scene description, such an aggressive response seems unwarranted. Why make everyone in the room feel uncomfortable over such a trivial matter? It's a movie, not a life and death situation. Not that idiot. And why the heck is everyone saying you are? You've tried to solve the problem multiple times privately to be respectful to her. She continues to not only make broad, assumptive statements about you and your opinions or feelings in public, but that last comment was outright insulting. I'd have been angry too. And yes, at this point, she is a liar. People out here are splitting hairs about the definition of the word liar. You've asked her to stop because she's wrong. She didn't stop. She is, in fact, willfully sharing things she has to at least suspect you won't like because they're untrue. At the very least, she's rude, dismissive, and condescending. I'm sorry you're dealing with it. My boyfriend and I have shared bank account. We opened 3 months ago. He lost his job in the tech sector and we decided to contribute 50 of our takeout to the account to pay for shared expenses like groceries, rent, utilities, etc. He makes $1,800 a month take-home and unemployment, and I take home $5,600 a month since I still have my job. So he contributes around $900. I contribute around $2,800 a month. Our rent is $2,200, our utility $200, and our groceries $400. So we should have some cash left over each month. I haven't checked what's taken out of the bank account until it overdrafted twice. I got a call to add overdraft protection, and I said I wouldn't need it. And the bank person said there was an overdraft twice and I was charged $35 each time, so I should be adding overdraft protection. I checked the bank statements, and sure enough, I had $30 in there. I checked the transactions, and they had all been Venmo'd into my boyfriend's account. I confronted him when he got home and asked him where the money went. He said it was in his account and he was using it to pay our shared expenses. I pointed out I bought the groceries, utilities were on auto pay, and I also Venmo'd our landlord monthly. So what bills are there to pay? He kept saying our shared expenses and refused to elaborate. I demanded receipts and he called me paranoid and refused to talk about it any further. I've had enough after several days of trying to get the answers. I called the bank to close the account, and I told my boyfriend I'm moving out at the end of August, end of our lease, if he doesn't cough up the money. By my estimate, he stole $2,700 from our joint account, and about $1,800 of it was mine. He still refuses to tell me where the money went and calls me money hungry when I point out that it's mostly my money that's gone. I've told my landlord I'm leaving and he can't afford the place alone, so he'll need to move. I've also done a credit check on my credit, because now I don't feel like I can trust him. But am I being too harsh? We've been together for 2 years, and we haven't shared finances until now. Seeing as he refuses to tell you where the money went, he's hiding something. The fact that you instantly went to closing the account and moving out means that your gut is telling you something, and you're right in trusting your instinct. But if he wasn't doing anything wrong or worth hiding, he wouldn't have issued one with proving his innocence. But because he's resorted to name-calling, paranoid, money-hungry, he's deflecting and gaslighting, making it seem as though you're mentally unhinged. It's good that you've seen this now, instead of years down the road when you have a mortgage, marriage, and kids tangled up in the mix as well. I'd be leaving too. Ali, you're money hungry. Hello, well, congratulations on confronting an issue and reacting immediately and appropriately to it. He's a thief, a liar, and a coward. You don't need to know anything else. Just be sure to formally remove yourself from the lease. I'm a 24-year-old female having a hard time seeing where I went wrong. But my husband-to-be, who is also 26, and they both struggle with narcissistic personality disorder. So I figured an outside opinion might be helpful since neither of us tends to understand when we're wrong right away. I'm getting married, yay, in December to the absolute love of my life, and we both want it to be the most spectacular wedding the world has ever seen because we both love attention. I never used to feel comfortable admitting that, but ever since I've been with him, I've been able to really accept that, and it's made my life so much more fun. We decided that instead of having me in a white dress, like all the other white dresses, and him in the same tuxedo as every man in attendance, it would really look spectacular if we both dressed. head to toe in gold. It would really look spectacular if we both dress head to toe in gold. What we want is for all of our guests to wear either black, white, or gray, and for us to be the only ones wearing color. I figured that not only would I look like a princess, but I'd also be dancing with a prince instead of just some guy. And he's so into the idea that he remembers it as being his. We just love that idea of a sea of monochrome and then US in the middle of it all. The only thing is my sister, who is 26, has been absolutely furious at us ever since the clothing requirements came out. First, she said this was proof that I never changed and I was being controlled again. Basically asking guests to wear a specific color was insane. Then she started making digs about my hair and how I was just doing this to show off, and asked if I planned to have her dye her hair too. I did not. We're both blonde, but mine is a bit more yellow blonde, and my husband is dyeing his hair for the wedding. I admitted to that, but also pointed out that it was my wedding, and it was normal. Then she accused me of trying to upstage everyone else's wedding dress, basically implying that I was trying to get everyone to show up in wedding dresses so I could compete with them and make myself look even better by comparison. That was never the plan. Finally, we decided to let our families wear copper if they wanted, so they would stand out as a nice accent to gold, and my sister would also get to stand out. I was totally willing to pay and said as much. That was when she called me a spoiled child, and said she wasn't like me and wasn't in this for herself. And she wanted all the guests to be able to wear normal wedding clothes, and that nobody in their right mind would be comfortable wearing white to a wedding. Am I the idiot for wanting people to wear white to my wedding? You're not the idiot. You're having a hard time seeing where you've gone wrong because you haven't gone wrong. And to be honest, your dress code is hardly a great burden. Men almost always have a black suit or a gray suit somewhere. And while I'm no expert, I would imagine most women are already having some clothes of one of those colors. It's not like you're demanding the men come in white ties with a top hat and the women all come in wedding dresses. Plenty of weddings have dress codes, nothing new. She doesn't have to go if she doesn't want to follow the dress code. I wonder if your sister is just kicking back because you're not having a traditional wedding, and she's jealous of the attention you'll receive. She had a really traditional wedding last year, and I wasn't actually invited to that, so I don't know a lot of details. Still, I know she wasn't happy with how it went. I do think that my dress code is pretty simple, especially since, not to be Mikari, but everyone has funeral clothes, right? I'm not invited to any of her events since I was 16. On graduations, no birthdays, nothing. When we were growing up, she said I used to steal the spotlight a lot. Honey, you shouldn't invite her to your wedding. It's going to be a problem. It's already sad and infuriating that you gave up an important part of what will make it your dream day, allowing the copper color to appease your entitled sister. How much more will you give up to appease your entitled attention-seeking sister at your wedding? Use it for your own and your fiancé, cause I wish you would go back to your choices of color scheme and remove the sister. Again, your wedding is not about her. Alright, my fiancé, we'll call her Flora, has completely changed since we started wedding planning. For some context, in our situation, she finished college and is working full-time. I'm still in college and will be for 2 years. We got engaged in the spring. Everything was great until the wedding planning came. Flora has now completely changed. She started to hyper-stress about the wedding. We plan to have it next year. She has a tiny family. I have a huge family. Obviously, I want to invite lots of my family. She hates that. When we first started dating, she said we could only have 50 people, 25 from each family. Well, that means she can invite her cousins and family and aunts and uncles. I can invite my family, including nieces and nephews and grandparents. And that's it. So when I said I'd like my cousins, etc., she blew up. We argued for a while, then agreed. She blew up my phone with angry texts, swearing at me and saying she would rather not have the wedding than invite more people. This went on for over an hour of her screaming at me via text. The next day, Flora's mother made a suggestion about the wedding, saying she found a place for our reception as we don't have that planned yet, but it was just a suggestion. Flora wasn't having it and gave her mother a hard time, letting it ruin her entire day. I fear this is just the beginning and I'm getting frustrated. I can't even make any suggestions for our wedding without risking an explosion. I'm just so done with Flora right now. I can't imagine trying to work and do college while dealing with this. I want to tell her she's a complete bridezilla and that I want to wait another year for our wedding because I can't deal with this crap. So am I the idiot for telling my fiancé that she's a bridezilla and that I'm pushing the wedding because of it? My parents are paying for 75, and she's paying for the other 25. And in fact, the time to take a step back is now, before the wedding plans are set in stone and money's been deposited. You need to think long and hard about whether this is someone you want to be with in the long term. Maybe it's just stress over wedding planning, still not okay, or maybe it's a bigger issue with her that you're just now seeing her true colors. Regardless, this is your wedding too, and she seems to forget that. So for now, there shouldn't be a wedding. And to be fair, it's better to lose the deposits than need a lawyer for the divorce. I'd follow your gut up. She's showing you some true colors. Pushing the wedding back and seeing if she stays this way is a good idea. Well, 25 of a big wedding is a lot for a young, just graduated working professional. Maybe she can't afford it, so she's freaking out that they're trying to make the wedding bigger and increase the cost, especially since she's only inviting 25 people. And if it's a bigger wedding, the planning sucks worse for her to figure out. Yeah, it depends. 25 of what, 200 guests? And it doesn't sound like Op himself is kicking in. I'm guessing girlfriend's parents are less well off and can't contribute, so the girlfriend's family shares all her. If Op's parents have champagne taste, it could be a lot to keep up with. And if it's too important to Op's giant family to all be there, maybe they can kick some in. If it's too important to the OP's giant family for all to be there, maybe they can chip in.